We have seen some attacks in the UAE over the past couple of years, not quite as many this year. So
No.
where do we stand today when it does come to cyber attacks locally, and how do we compare to global best practices?
Globally, we're doing fairly well, actually. From a technology and from a process perspective, we're doing really nicely. The willingness of management to try to push in new technologies is actually causing a few issues now. I think the UAE is trying to adopt a lot of the latest technologies, the latest and greatest as it may be. So the CEO walking in with his new iPad, his BlackBerry, his Android and telling IT, I need this to work immediately, is starting to cause a few issues. And as you say, because we haven't really seen many attacks recently, people are starting to get a little complacent because if something doesn't happen, then they don't really want to spend money on it at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I guess we have quite an interesting line of work. Just for our viewers, can you take us through, I guess, roughly what you do and maybe even some personal stories or anecdotes from your work?
I think my job is basically every little boy's dream. I get paid to break into companies to rob banks, but on the slightly less glamorous side, I actually have to advise companies as to how they should secure their IT infrastructure and how they can prevent themselves from being exploited by organized crime and such. So yeah, that's basically what I do. I started back in '98, and yeah.
And can you give us any examples, maybe when you're talking about I guess that breaking into banks, how does that work? What are some things that obviously you look out for and then you advise the companies on? You don't need to name specific names, but just to set the scene.
I can give you an example of one bank here in the region. It was a very large bank actually. It was about 4 years ago, so I trust that this won't work anymore. So I advise the viewers not to try this. We were actually engaged to come in and to test the security for this bank. And so we went in, we did the initial scans, and it looked really good. It looked really secure, and we thought that was going to be a real issue. Then one of the engineers, we had access to the online banking system, he decided he was going to try a trick of transferring a negative amount. So for example, Omar, I tried to transfer negative 10,000 dirham from my account to your account. So in the transfer field, just put a minus in front. Now, because you're not dealing with a human being, you're dealing with a computer and you're dealing with logic. So the computer, it automatically thinks what I should do is I should take the 10,000 dirham out of your account and put it into my account. So I think that was the fastest bank robbery we ever did. It took us about 7 to 8 minutes.
Wow, that's amazing. 7 to 8 minutes. I mean,
Fantastic.
Is it usually that quick for most companies?
No. That was a real bit of luck, I have to say. No, normally it takes 3 to 4 weeks, but it really depends on the company which you're targeting, and it depends on the boundaries which they want to put in line for you to do such an attack.
Absolutely. Looking again then maybe at a more personal angle from our viewers, you're looking into social media and those kind of fake Facebook accounts and how that is used. Can you tell us a little bit about that practice, how you can protect yourself, and again, how that happens?
Sure. Well, Facebook announced in the first quarter of this year that 81 million of their Facebook accounts are actually fake.
Wow.
Of those, 14 million were deemed to be bad accounts. So the rest are people putting up accounts for their pets, for their cars, whatever else. But these 14 million were actually devised so that organized crime and criminals could try to gain information from the social media sites and from you. So, for example, if I'm a criminal and I'm going after you, Omar, I would look around online to see what your preferences are. So if I understand that you like Bulgari, Bentleys, and brunettes, then I will basically go back.
Who doesn't, right?
Got
exactly.
It in what?
I'll go back. I'll create a lovely Facebook page for a beautiful brunette who likes Bulgari and Bentleys, and I'll try to befriend you. Now, hopefully, because you see my my Facebook page and it matches with your type of interests, you'll befriend me. Once you befriend me, we start chatting online, and I start asking more personal questions. Now, for example, if I want to hack Dubai One or Emirates 24/7, I'll start asking you questions which relate to the company and where you work, the security practices which you have here, and I'll basically use that information to go further. So that's how social engineering really is working now.
So then how do you protect yourself? I mean, obviously don't accept random Facebook requests, but I mean, in general, what are some of the things you should be looking out for?
Well, many people think that, I have many people that say to me, it's okay, I don't have a Facebook account. Well, that's okay, I'll create one for you in that case, and I'll pretend to be you. So just by not having a Facebook account doesn't mean that you're protected. As you say, you don't accept friend requests from people that you don't really know, and you try to be slightly more vigilant online.
Earlier this week, we were chatting on the show, hearing that we need around 15 passwords nowadays to keep our information safe. Do you think it's as simple as that? You were speaking, reading some of your notes. You were saying it's about online security and physical security as well as this social engineering.
Yes.
How does that all sort of fit together?
Well, yes, you're right. You need a huge amount of passwords now in order to live your daily life, it seems. But in order to, with social engineering, what's actually happening is previously you didn't have this great interaction online, and so people weren't able to gather all this information about you. Now, with the invention of Facebook and these things, you actually have so much information posted about you online that people are able to take this information and start to guess your passwords. So you need to start creating ever more complex passwords, and then you forget your passwords. That creates load on the banks or on the telcos because they need to change your passwords on a more regular basis. So it's really not that simple.
So moving forwards, in terms of the big focus on the UAE, what do we need to be aware of? What are the biggest developments you think we're going to see in terms of cybersecurity, in terms of threats from hackers?
The biggest threats are previously attacks were being conducted by script kiddies. So these were just kids that were going around, they were looking for weaknesses on your website, they defaced the website and they put up nasty messages. Now you're seeing organized crime getting involved. Organized crime is actually going after targeted attacks. So it's no longer the kids that are just trying to deface the website, it's criminals trying to steal money. So they actually go out there and they target the profile that they're going for. And they spend a huge amount of time and effort trying to understand things about the companies that they're attacking and the individuals which they're going after. So we're going to see far more targeted attacks.
So definitely need to be a lot more vigilant in that case. Well, David, thank you so much for taking time to join us. Pleasure
Thanks
having
ever so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.